All right, welcome everybody to the Content Lab. We have a new series that we're about to do. I don't know if it's going to be the only time we're going to be doing it or we're going to do it more often, but at least let's give it a shot. We have Bennett Looper with us. We just finished an hour-long podcast, which was pretty good. I thought it went well. What do you think, Bennett?
I think so too. It was very conversational.
Yeah,
So
so if you're interested in listening to that, it's going to be on Spotify and I think the Apple Podcast one, and also on YouTube. But let's go ahead and talk about what we're gonna be doing today. So first thing, Bennett is a filmmaker, content creator, and he's the producer, one of the producers for Rich Froning and CrossFit Mayhem. So he's pretty well known for creating some cool reels, hype videos. So what we're going to be doing today is he's gonna explain the process of from start to finish how to make one of these videos, right? So he's gonna go through a timeline. Anything you want to add on before we get started?
no, I let's jump right in.
All right, it's gonna be awesome. Let's go ahead and okay. So that's your timeline. Talk from the beginning. The video we're gonna be watching. Um, play it after I'm done talking. But I'm gonna say the video we're gonna watch right now. It's something you made for quarterfinals, right?
Correct.
The
So
last.
what we try to do is we normally do like a big YouTube video over like these events like quarterfinals, the open, like semis, all these. But we want to have like a short social clip that we put on Instagram just to kind of like draw people to that YouTube video. And so this is the one that we made for quarterfinals just to kind of get people to click on and watch the YouTube video.
Perfect. All right. Can you play the video and without the timeline, just like play it, making a bigger screen, and so
Yeah.
we can watch it from beginning to end.
Yes.
Got it, come on, find your rhythm. You got the tails, smart sets here. Everything you got.
Awesome.
There we go.
Pretty cool. Yeah, let's go back to the timeline. So obviously you have the task of making a video, a reel. Is it actually like do you actually go to the shoot thinking already, okay, I'm gonna record this, knowing that I have to change the ratio of
Yeah,
the
that's a good question.
footage?
Um, no. Well, yes and no. So a lot of times, sometimes depending on the day or the competition, like Scott and I will talk beforehand, and he'll be like, "Hey, like, I'm gonna be shooting for like BTS for YouTube, and like you can just shoot for Instagram Reels." And other times, we'll have two cameras, and he'll be like, "Hey, like we're shooting for a YouTube video, but like use that footage to make a reel." And it honestly, like I shoot very differently depending on what we're doing. Um, for quarterfinals, I kind of shot a little bit of both. We had like three cameras like at most, up to three cameras running. So it really depends. I never, whenever I do shoot for reels, I'll shoot a little bit tighter um, on some shots just because I like those detail shots. But when I shoot for YouTube and like long term narrative work, like you want to shoot a little wider, let the character kind of play within the frame. Um, so it really depends. For me, so I shoot with a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K Pro. It's a mouthful, but because of that, like I can crop in a ton. Like with a 6K sensor, like the sequence is only 1080 by 1920, so you can really crop in like a bunch. So I really that helps me a lot. So it really depends on the situation, but for this specific one, I kind of shot a mix of wide and tights.
Okay, so another question. Do you already know? Do you have an idea of like the transitions you want to make, or pretty much you just shoot and then whenever you get all the footage in Premiere, you're like, okay, I think I'm gonna start with this one or that one, or you have some like, do you plan anything before?
Yeah. Yes, I do. So like we'll go through it, but like a lot of times, like some transitions kind of just kind of set themselves up. Like you've probably seen it a million times, but like a transition through like the ring. for the ring muscle up. Like that's like a good one. Like a lot of times, like I'll like set up, when someone goes to grab the ring for the ring muscle up, like you can just zoom through that, or like masking transitions with the rig. That's like super easy to do. Someone's doing a movement and you just kind of get the rig in foreground and move like through the rig and then mask that in post. Like those kind of things I'll plan. Sometimes though, like I'll scrub through the footage and I'll just be like, damn, like this could be a dope transition. And
Yep.
it's kind of a mix of both for me.
Awesome. So for this video specifically, I guess for all of them, the timeline is empty. What do you do first? What's the first thing you do?
First thing is I always try to find a song. So we use MusicBed. And I'll pull this on the screen too, just to kind of show people, like if you go to any royalty-free website, it's something like this. Normally, depending on the vibe that I want, like I'll go into genre, I'll go like cinematic, and then that kind of narrows selections down. Go to mood. If I want it to be like tense, I'll do that. Angry, like really upbeat, and then you just have like a lot of songs from here. Just I don't know if you can hear that. Yeah, just stuff like that. MusicBed has a lot of very good selections.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. I normally go through MusicBed, try to find a song first. Once I have a song, I'll lay it out. The song is the hardest part.
For me, same thing. Like it can take me more to find a song than just to finish a video.
Dude, like a day.
Yeah.
It takes so long.
For me, that's what's gonna set the mood of the video. So if I choose the right song and I'm feeling it, like I feel the vibe, I know the video is gonna be good. If I'm already doubting the song, sometimes this happened to me. I finished the time, I finished the video, and I'm like, I don't like this song. This is not gonna like the footage is good. Like I just don't feel the song, and I'm end up pretty much just changing the song and pretty much doing everything from scratch because I just didn't like the song.
Yeah.
So it's so
Dude,
important.
I've gotten so much better about it. I used to be like, I'm so like music is such a huge thing for me. Like personally, like even outside of content creation, like I just love music. So it's like I used to be so picky about what I used, and we just like crank out so much content at once. Like I've learned to kind of like settle, but sometimes I still have that side of me that's like, oh, it's got to be the perfect song. So yeah, I lay down the track. Sometimes I'll use one. Sometimes I'll mix two. If I want to kind of start out kind of tense, I might use like a drone sound. Here, I can pull these up. Like let's see. I'm actually gonna pull it up on my Finder. Let's see. So like you can get like something like this. I don't know if you can. Can you hear that?
No.
Let me change this real quick.
Yeah, but definitely the song is so important.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear it.
So like I might start something out with something like that, just very like tense, get the atmosphere going. Something like that. It's like building tension, building tension, building tension, and then I'll like transition into like a hype song. But it just depends. This one I kind of wanted it to be more like dramatic and emotional, so I kind of went with a song that was very like cinematic and emotional. So.
Perfect. Once you find the song, what's next?
So after that, well, actually, before I find the song, I go ahead and set up my sequence. You're not shooting. I always do this before so that I'm not like going back and resizing every clip, and then that changes like the whole flow of the video. So I always start a new sequence 1080 by 1920. That's 9 by 16. That's vertical. I don't shoot vertical. You see a lot of people like shooting like vertically. Like I'm not gonna do that. Like that's because you never know what this footage might be used for later down the road.
True.
So I set my sequence up after I lay the song down. Then I just kind of go through all my footage. Let's see. So like normally like going into the edit, I know like in my mind certain clips that I like remember shooting. I'm like, oh, that's a good one. So like I always try to start with an establishing shot. like even if it's just a quick shot, like this shot of Vic right here, rubbing chalk, like it's a wide shot. I think I shot this at like 24 millimeters, but you see how much it crops in even at 24 millimeters. That's why you always like, you want to err on the side and shoot a little bit wide because it's going to crop in a ton. And that's a 6K too.
True.
So I start with a wide, you know, Vic, and then I cut to a tight. She's rubbing chalk on her hands. So I found a shot of rubbing chalk on her hands again. Boom, cut to tight. Some more wides, just kind of building tension. And then I'll cut into the action. And then I just go from there, like throughout all my footage. This takes a long time. I'll just kind of go through things. And an event like this where I've shot like so much footage, I don't even go through all the footage. Like sometimes, like especially when you're pressed for time, like I don't even do that. But I'll look for like footage like this, like see like you got Tyler jumping up on this rope and like Batu in the foreground. Like I didn't do it on this specific clip, but like something I could see myself doing is like when Tyler goes to jump up on that rope, like I take my camera and like move through and let Batu kind of be in the foreground, and then I can do a masking transition. And I think I did it on this clip right here. So like Tyler's running. Let me actually go to the original clip. So this is Tyler running right here, and you see this is a planned transition I did. This is the rig, and he's running. He's doing those shuttle runs. So he's running like this, and then boom, like he comes on the other side. And on my timeline, I ended up using that as a masking transition to a different shot.
Yeah.
And another thing that I always try to do is I try to keep like shots together. So he's running a shuttle run, and it's very subtle. Like I could mix it to a different shot and people wouldn't know, but like subconsciously people are like, oh yeah, he's doing the shuttle run workout, you know? So I always try to keep like shots together. So in this one, you know, it mask transitions to, no one knows, but this is Gi touching the ground right here. So it just is a nice transition to there. And then I'll kind of do a mix of wide and tights. And on this specific one, I think I remember I really wanted to emphasize, I knew I got a lot of sound bites from people talking. Like that is one thing I planned, is I wanted to get like a ton of, I knew it was going to be hype in the gym. And so I wanted to get a lot of sound bites from people. And so I do remember laying out the sound effects before putting some of the clips in. So I can actually play it back without the music. This is kind of what it sounds like without that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the sound effects that I did and I'm going to move them down just so you can hear the voices.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Actually, I'll just play it back right like this.
10 seconds. You got it, come on, find your rhythm. You got the tails, smart sets here. Everything you got. Let's go.
So I honestly, in this one, I didn't use a ton of sound effects. I kind of relied more on like the like scratch audio from people like yelling and cheering on people. Cause I kind of wanted that to be the focal point of it. So I remember this is kind of like, you want everything to be a progression. And honestly, like we talk about storytelling a lot, but like you can tell a story in like a 15-second video. Like even if it's as simple as like, okay, workout prep, people prepping for the workout, you know, they're about to start the workout. Okay, now they're doing the workout. Okay, now the workout's done. Like that's technically still a story. It's a very simplified story, but like you can still tell a story like that in 15 seconds. And so that's what I kind of try to do with these reels. And this one specifically, so you listen to the sound effects, it's like Jake's like 10 seconds. And then you hear like Luke being like, all right, find your rhythm, like set into this pace. And then Tasia's like, all right, like smart sets, Haley, come on, let's do this. And then you end on, you hear Jake in the background, 3, 2, 1, and then it starts. And then you have like people cheering and stuff like that. So even in just the sound effects, I kind of knew how the flow of the video was going to go.
Yeah, I think the sounds make the video. Obviously, the footage is good, the transitions are good, but what's gonna give like life to the video, like that story, it's gonna be the sounds, the sound effects, the sounds that you have. I remember one of my friends, Ariel Martinez, which is, it's probably one of the best filmmakers out there. He's really good. He told me, dude, I mean, you can have great footage. You can even have great lighting. And some people argue that lighting is the most important thing, which I agree, it's super important. But he's like, you can have the best footage out there. You can have the best camera. You can have awesome everything. But if the sound is not there, people are not going to get the video. Like there's
100%.
going to be something missing. You know what I mean? So, and sometimes I see it often, actually. I see a lot of really cool hype videos, but there's like something missing, and it's the sound effects, just that extra like hump that's gonna give the video like, okay. And most of the sound effects, like, we notice because we do this, right? So we know, okay, we hear like a transition and all that, and we hear the sound effect. But most people, they have no clue what sound effects are. They just think that's what we got out of the video. So
Mhm.
for the audience, they're watching and they're just self-consciously absorbing all these sound effects into their head, and it just kind of like creates an extra story to the whole footage. So I think what you did on this one, I think right when I saw it, I text you, I'm like, dude, my favorite part was the little voiceovers of Luke being hyped up and just like, everything you got, Gee,
Yeah.
and all that. Dude, it was really good. um
I think you're right. Like, the sound is just that little bit, like you said, like, no one's gonna be like, no one's people will not notice when it's not there, but they will notice even more when it is there. They'll be
yeah,
it subconsciously, it just sounds better.
correct. But I feel like somebody that has no clue about filmmaking or anything, they can watch this video without the sound effects and they're gonna be like, okay, it's good. Obviously, they're not gonna notice, but they're gonna watch it with the sound effects and they're gonna be like, oh wow, that's dope. That's really hype. Wow. And in their mind, like, they don't know that the difference was only just adding those sound effects.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right.
Let's
For sure.
let's let's go back to like the actual process of making this video.
Okay.
So you select the clips. Do you actually, because this is what I do. I make the timeline and I don't add any transitions or any sound effects or anything like the overlays. I just make the timeline. And at that point is the moment that I'm like, geez, like I this doesn't look very good right now. Like, it's just the footage, but I have an idea in my mind, like, okay, I want to transition it here to there. But I do my keyframes first.
Mhm.
Once I have my timeline, I do my keyframes and I know what's gonna transition to. And I like, me personally, I like to add an adjustment layer already, color, not color grading, but transferring, because we should log, right?
Mhm.
So I like to transfer it to at least Rec 709 so I get an idea of what it's gonna look like. And the last thing I do is like overlays and sound effects and all that. How's your process? Or for example, for this one, what do you do?
Yeah, it really, yeah, I don't normally do like an adjustment layer of color. Like, sometimes I will, but like, I normally wait till the very end to do that. And then I'll same with overlays. I'm kind of trying to keep those like overlays simple now, like a little film burn, maybe that. But a lot of times, like, dude, it's so random. Like, I like to have very fast cuts, and I know like certain cuts will work well together. And so I'll like, if you look at my timeline, like leading up to like the end, it's like little pieces of like cuts where I'm like, oh, this will work well together. Like, for instance, like, let's see, let's see, like this muscle up sequence, like right here, like that.
Yeah,
Like, I had that sequence by itself, and then like this rope climb sequence right here. Like, okay, so it
nice.
goes
Yeah,
from jump, jump to the rope climb, okay, pull. She's reaching up to touch the top, and then her legs are hooking, and like
yeah,
that's a sequence. I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. Like, I'll keep that to the side, and then it's like little Legos. You just start piecing them together, and like you don't want to overthink it. Like, it can go straight from one movement to the other. Like, it doesn't have to flow like that much. And so I'll just like put those little pieces together into a video. And that's kind of my process. And I really like fast cuts. So like a lot of times, like there's a time and a place to hold on like this shot, like the shot of Tyler.
Yep.
I get built tension. I wanted to hold that.
Yeah.
And then I
And
put like
also
a
the music's like slowing down and you're like it's like getting tense, so you wanna, keep that shot, which I thought it was I I think it was really good.
appreciate it, man.
But yeah, all those transitions you were mentioning, they make sense.
Mhm.
It's not like you're just picking random clips and it goes from, Bailey wrapping her shoes on the rope to Guy doing a snatch. It
Yeah.
goes from Bailey reaching to her feet, like, holding the rope, pulling, maybe going down the muscle from grabbing the rings into somebody getting on top of the rings. So they make sense.
Yeah. And like that's the thing is like you're working with such a small sequence, like 9 by 16 is so small that like
Hmm.
you can't really fit an entire rope climb into that sequence. Like you can, but it's not going to look as interesting as it would on like a widescreen. So like we're going to chop it up and make, break it down by movement. And it
Yeah,
just looks more interesting. Especially with fast cuts, like people, it's just so fast that people don't even realize they're seeing like 5 different cuts. Like they're just like, oh, this is a rope climb. Um, so that's kind of how I approach that.
yeah. Does your process of editing changes according to the project or according to the reel? Like sometimes I switch some things. Sometimes for some reason I like to start making my transition like mid through the video, like I'm feeling like, "Oh, I don't know if this is gonna, like flow well." So I start making like some of my, keyframes and some of my transitions and stuff like before I finish the timeline. But
Oh
for
yeah, for
some
sure.
for some other videos, I just make the whole timeline and then I do I do all that at the end.
Yeah.
Does it happen to you? Like it's kind of like what you feel at the moment, or you always keep the same workflow?
Oh, yeah. I honestly like I don't think I keyframe anything after I've finished the timeline. Like very rarely. Like I know like when I see a certain movement, I'm like, I know I'm gonna keyframe that, so I'm gonna keyframe that right now.
Okay.
Like like on like these little movements right here, like I always do like just a simple like push in. Um
Hmm.
so like you can't I cut it so you can't really see, but like see like right there, like I'm always doing a push in. Um
Yep.
and on yeah, like I know I'm gonna do it, so I already do it.
Hmm.
And that just like gives it a little bit extra spice, if it's just static, like a lot of these shots are I'm a lot of these shots I'm just standing there. So
Yeah.
like I do add some camera movement every once in a while, but like there are those shots where you're just standing there, the camera's static and like, you know, it's always gonna be more interesting with some movement. So I always
For
I
sure. Yeah.
always will try to keyframe and I will find that it doesn't really work outside of reels. Like it doesn't really look good unless it's reels. Like I wouldn't really do something like this for like a YouTube video, you know? Um,
Mhm.
but that's kind of how I operate with keyframes. Another thing I'm trying to find one. Oh yeah. So like I do a lot of like masking, like this this ring transition right here. Like I do a lot of masking. So like that it's
Mhm.
very it take this is um a tedious part of the process, but like um it just like is that extra little umph. And so a lot of times like for instance, like that's like a perfect circle. Whenever I see like a shape like that, I'm like, oh, perfect opportunity to like
Yep.
zoom through or zoom out of that. Um, so like there's the mask right there. And then I just mask through it and I just literally just play around with the speed, um, stuff like that until it works. And if you want a tutorial on masking, uh, I'm just Google or YouTube like how to do a mask transition. It's very simple.
Yeah. And
Um,
I mean, in reality, you learn how to do all this of YouTube, right? Like it just
yeah. Well, but I also found that like there's not like CrossFit style videos and like hype reels is such a very it's like I feel like it's still very niche. So like I remember I tried like YouTubing like how to make like hype reels on Instagram and like nothing came up. So a lot of this was just like trial and error and just like
shooting. Yeah.
playing with things and seeing if it works, like crazy keyframes, like crazy motion tracking and like crazy mass transitions. Like some of it looks really stupid, but some of it works. And I think as long as I keep like super fast cuts, it most of the time it works. So
Yeah. And kind of like what we talked about in the podcast too is kind of like, shooting, editing, seeing what works, what doesn't work, and then just doing it again until you find the sweet spot. And then, I mean, once once you feel comfortable, you already know what to do and what to expect.
100%. Yeah. So much of like literally I would just tell people just like, dude, just play around with it. Like, so I've spent like, I remember the first like kind of hype reel that I did was like my 2021 like recap reel. I don't even think it was like an
Mm.
Instagram reel format. It was like horizontal, but I remember just like I spent like I'm not even gonna lie, I spent like days on that video, just like trying different things, like what works, what doesn't. And
And you
once I
also had a
did,
lot of footage. I mean, you were choosing footage from the games, from regionals, from
yeah,
it was a lot of stuff. So I can see how that took a while. It was pretty good too. I really liked it.
I appreciate it. But that's like I spent like so much time just like figuring out like what works, what doesn't. So that's what I would tell people to do is just like mess around. So much of content creation is just messing around, like
Hmm.
just see what works and see what doesn't.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Really cool. So, okay, so you go. Let's talk about the color grading process.
okay. Um, color grading, I don't take as much or as seriously for reels. I really like when I can, I like to color. So I shoot black magic. So I really like to color a lot of my stuff in DaVinci Resolve. I just feel like that really like you can really like push the colors to the limit and it just has a lot more available to you. But and for these reels, I literally create an adjustment layer. We have like a simple LUT. It's a Rec 709, like +2 uh, contrast for like the Gen 5 color science that Blackmagic has. I just slap that on there and then I go like individually clip by clip and then like make minor adjustments. Um, like maybe change the contrast or exposure a little bit. And that's
Hmm.
pretty much it. I don't put too much time into color for reels. Um, just because by the time I get to color, I'm like, all right, we need to get this out. We need to post
Yeah,
this. So um, that
yeah.
doesn't take
And
a lot of time.
another thing is that you cannot take too long on this, right? Like
Yes.
it's something that they're expecting with a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah.
So you cannot take too long on it. That's why I was asking you about the process of shooting because obviously you want to have an idea of like where you're gonna post, and
Hmm.
also you want to try to make sure your time is efficient. So of course, like setting your white balance and all that, just those little things that it could take you a while to fix in post. Like you want to have them as perfect as possible in the actual like shooting stage of the video.
Yeah. What
Um,
helps me is and this is something that especially more like once we go into events, I'll have this like down to a science, but like you come into an edit with like 3 or 4 songs on deck that you know you're gonna use, and then have, like, a bunch of sound effects that you know you're gonna use, and, like, once you have that, like, it makes things so much easier because like I said, like, for me, finding a song is half the battle, so if I have some songs going into the edit that I know I'm gonna use, it makes things exponentially easier, and then, honestly, just, like, making them a lot has helped me like know like sometimes it gets a little stale because I know like I'm gonna do the same thing that I've done in the past, maybe like add a little twist, but like that helps me crank them out faster. As I know, like I already know what I'm gonna do. Like I see a shot that I shoot. I'm like, all right, I know I'm gonna keyframe in. I know, on this GHD shot, I know I'm gonna do a rotating keyframe to kind of follow the
mhm.
movement. Like I already know I'm gonna do that in my head. So and that comes from me just doing it before. So
Nice. Yeah. No, I love it. And we were just talking in the actual podcast we recorded before this about following the trends. I mean, right now the trendy thing is to use those burns as overlays and all that. And who knows, like it can change in a year from now. It might be like flares or who
yeah,
knows. But that's a trend right now, and people really like it. And whenever they see it, it's just attractive for the audience to use.
Yeah.
And
It's just
probably
another one of those things.
this probably happens to you. You're probably not super stoked to use like an overlay here and there, but it's kind of like what that's what people like, so you have to also you know cater for the audience,
Yeah.
make sure they like it. Just
That's
following
I
the
mean,
trends.
yeah, that's people are like humans are very lazy and they want instant gratification. They want little bits of candy and like I feel like the overlays are like little bits of intriguing candy that like adds a little like
Hmm.
spice to the image that people want and that's why I try to keep these under 30 seconds too is people just want something really quick that they can scroll through on their phone and see. Um, so yeah, that's that's the game that Instagram wants to play, but we're gonna play that game
Yeah,
and please the people. So
true. And another thing that's been happening on, or that I've noticed on Instagram is you can make a hype video like this, take, a day or two editing and then post it. And it doesn't get as many views as, I don't know, Rich doing a thruster. That's it.
yeah,
Like just posting a video. And I mean, in my mind, it kind of makes sense because normal, like people that don't know about filmmaking and all that, like they really don't care if they see somebody hitting a snatch and it's cool. Oh, dude, I love this. They're gonna like it and share. I mean, they can see a really hype video like this, but in their mind, some people are not gonna get it.
yeah.
They're gonna be
Well,
like, "Oh, it's a lot going on."
and like I told you this yesterday. I was like I do a mix of both. So like I've had like a couple reels, like literally like a 7-second shot of Rich doing like a worm thruster, and then I had like a shot of Rich at the games doing like the last like it was like the last 10 seconds of that thruster event where he like came from behind, did like 9 unbroken. And like that those 2 reels like got like over 200K views and like those are I told you this, like those are the type of reels that like get people to visit your page because that they gain traction. People are scrolling through them on their explore page. So those kind of reels get people to my page, but it's like these kind of reels that like get people to like stay following me
Mhm.
because it's like, okay, this is pretty sick. Like I want to keep watching this. So it's kind of like a strategy of give and take. Like, yeah, I'm gonna crank out some like not creative, just super lazy, like but short reels, and then like do some of these every once in a while.
Yeah, awesome. Is there anything else you want to add to your editing process?
Not really. I know this like it wasn't crazy in depth. I mean, maybe in the future we could do like a
Mhm.
live like from
That's
start
what I
to
was
finish.
thinking. So in my mind, we can obviously we're gonna drop this, and then if people have questions and stuff like that, I think it'll be cool for like if you're watching this on YouTube, you want to know more about, I don't know, the way that we or the way that Bennett does certain things, just post it in the comments, and then obviously like we can make it a series, and probably a live video will be even better too. Like we can say, hey, we're gonna go live, I don't know, April 23rd, and talk about Bennett's last video, and then we go
Mhm.
live and people can ask. But I think for now we can keep it here. Also, that way you don't give out too many of your secrets.
There's not. I was gonna say like there's no secrets, bro. Like everything is here. Like it's
Yeah,
just
and you can
very
find everything
tedious.
on YouTube. Did my screen like can you see me on the camera right now?
It froze a little
It
bit.
froze, right? Yeah, let me
Yeah.
see. Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of like the algorithm telling me, or not the algorithm, the website telling me that's it. Stop talking. So let's keep it like that. You're the face of the screen.
I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, let's keep it at this for now. Um, Hopefully we can make this a series. But I thought it was pretty cool. Like people are gonna. I hope they like some of the information you mentioned here. But as you said, everything it's online. You can find everything on YouTube, like how to make keyframe, how to do, how to mask shots and all that. But I thought it was gonna be a good idea to actually show it from your perspective how you edit these videos.
Yeah. Yeah. If y'all want to see more, just let
Yeah.
Carlos know.
Yeah, and also go to Bennett's Instagram account. He has many of these videos. He shoots them for CrossFit Mayhem, so everything that they post there, Bennett posts them afterwards. So
And
go
more
to his
coming.
account, check his videos, more comment. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. I mean, we're just getting started with the CrossFit season, so Quarterfinals done. Now it's going to be semifinals and then the game. So expect a lot of really cool stuff from Bennett. All right, Bennett, anything you want to add on to it?
I'm good. Thanks for
All
having
right,
me.
make sure you follow us at Content Lab Podcast on Instagram, at Bennett Looper on his Instagram. My Instagram is at Bound Media, BOWN Media, not Bone or Brown. It's Bound Media. And also subscribe on YouTube. It helps a lot. I know we're just getting started, but I think it's going to be cool stuff coming in the future. All right, Bennett, thank you so much. Oh, and make sure everybody watching this, please, you have to listen to the podcast we just made with Bennett. It was really good. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Bennett.
Thank you.